You bought it because the label said fast-growing, low maintenance, and beautiful. You planted it along the fence line in an afternoon and forgot about it. 3 years later, it had crossed the property line, cracked your neighbor's patio, and sent runners under your foundation. The removal bill was $4,000. The neighbor dispute took 2 years. And the nursery that sold it to you knew. They knew because this plant has been doing exactly this to homeowners for decades. There are 9 plants like this sitting in garden centers right now that professionals quietly warn each other about and beginners discover the hard way. Plants that crack foundations. Plants that poison your soil for years. Plants that will have a lawyer knocking on your door. And plants that look innocent enough to fool anyone who has not been burned before. Stick around, because number 3 on this list is so aggressive that several US states have made it illegal to sell. Yet it still appears on shelves every spring. Welcome to the Plant Files, where we dig up what the nursery industry hopes you never find out. If you believe an informed gardener is a dangerous customer, you are in the right place. Subscribe and drop a comment telling me which plant on this list surprised you most. Here are 9 plants you should never grow in your garden, ranked from seriously problematic to absolutely never. Number 9. Mint, the underground invader. Mint seems harmless. It smells good, it grows easily, and every herb garden guide recommends it. Here is what those guides leave out. Mint spreads through underground runners called rhizomes that travel silently in every direction. Plant it in open ground, and within 2 seasons, it will have claimed your entire herb bed, pushed out everything growing beside it, and started working its way into your lawn. Removal means digging every fragment of root from the soil. Leave a single piece behind and it regrows from scratch. Mint has colonized gardens on every inhabited continent because nothing stops it once it establishes. For anyone who loves cooking with fresh mint, grow it exclusively in containers sunk into the ground with the bottom removed, never directly in open soil. Number 8. English ivy, the wall destroyer. English ivy looks elegant climbing a garden wall or covering bare ground. Landscape designers specify it constantly. Here is the reality underneath that elegance. Ivy attaches to surfaces using rootlets that penetrate mortar, brick, and wood siding. Over years, those rootlets expand and crack the very surfaces they climb. On trees, ivy climbs until it shades out the canopy and the tree dies standing up. On the ground, ivy creates dense mats that eliminate every native plant beneath it. Birds spread the seeds widely, making it invasive well beyond your property line. Several US states classify it as a noxious weed. For anyone who wants ground cover that stays put and does not destroy what it touches, there are native alternatives that perform the same function without the destruction. Number 7. Wisteria, the beautiful structural threat. Few plants stop people in their tracks the way wisteria does in full bloom. That beauty has a cost. Wisteria vines develop woody stems that can reach several inches in diameter over time, strong enough to collapse pergolas, pull gutters from rooflines, and pry apart fence structures. The root system is equally aggressive, traveling far from the original planting in search of water and nutrients. Asian varieties, Japanese and Chinese wisteria, are the most destructive and are considered invasive across much of the eastern United States. A mature wisteria can exert enough force to dismantle structures that took years to build. For anyone drawn to flowering vines, American Wisteria is a better-behaved native alternative that blooms beautifully without the structural destruction. Number 6. Horsetail, the living fossil you cannot kill. Horsetail has been on Earth for over 300 million years. It survived the extinction event that killed the dinosaurs. Understanding that fact helps explain why removing it from your garden is nearly impossible. The roots go 6 feet deep or more. They regenerate from fragments too small to see. Herbicides that kill most plants barely slow horsetail down. Gardeners have spent years attempting removal only to watch it return thicker every season. Horsetail spreads through both underground rhizomes and airborne spores, meaning it can establish in a new location without any help from you. Professional landscapers charge premium rates just to manage it temporarily. For anyone dealing with horsetail already, containment rather than elimination is the only realistic strategy. Number 5. Butterfly bush, the pollinator trap. The name sounds like exactly what every responsible gardener wants. Here is what the name does not tell you. Butterfly bush attracts adult butterflies to its nectar, but it provides zero benefit to butterfly larvae. Native caterpillars cannot eat its leaves. That means butterfly bush draws pollinators away from the native plants that actually support their reproduction and offers them nothing in return. Worse, it produces thousands of seeds per plant that spread into wild areas and crowd out the native plants that pollinators truly depend on. Oregon and Washington have banned its sale outright. For anyone who genuinely wants to support pollinators, native plants like milkweed, native asters, and coneflowers provide food for every stage of a butterfly's life cycle, not just the adults. Number 4. Japanese knotweed, the plant that voids mortgages. This is the plant that costs American homeowners billions. Japanese knotweed was deliberately introduced to the United States and Europe as an ornamental plant in the 1800s. Nobody knew what they were releasing. The roots go 10 feet deep and extend 20 feet horizontally from the main stem. They grow through concrete, through asphalt, through foundation walls. In the United Kingdom, mortgage lenders have refused loans on properties where knotweed is present within 7 meters of a structure. Removal requires professional excavation and years of a follow-up treatment. A single fragment of stem or root left in the soil regenerates a new plant. For anyone who spots Japanese knotweed on their property, the time to act is immediately, because every season you wait makes removal exponentially harder and more expensive. Number 3. Running bamboo, the lawsuit plant. This is the plant from the hook, the one you already know about if you have spent time in gardening forums. Running bamboo spreads through underground rhizomes that travel up to 30 feet from the parent plant in a single year. Those rhizomes cross property lines, crack driveways, undermine fences, and surface in neighbors' yards without invitation. Neighbor disputes over bamboo have resulted in lawsuits awarding tens of thousands of dollars in damages. Multiple states now have bamboo ordinances that hold the planting neighbor legally liable for any spread. Nurseries still sell running varieties labeled simply as bamboo, with no mention of spread potential. Clumping bamboo varieties exist and behave responsibly. But running bamboo, once established, belongs to your entire neighborhood, whether they agreed or not. For anyone who wants the bamboo aesthetic, clumping varieties give you the look without the litigation. Number 2. tree of heaven, the smell of regret. Ailanthus altissima arrived in America in the 1700s, promoted as a fast-growing ornamental shade tree. It delivers on the fast-growing part. It grows up to 6 feet per year, emerges through pavement cracks, and establishes in rubble where nothing else survives. Here is what the promoters left out. The tree produces chemicals that poison the soil around it, preventing other plants from establishing nearby. It releases a deeply unpleasant smell from its leaves and flowers. It seeds prolifically. A single female tree produces up to 300,000 seeds annually. Those seeds establish in gutters, fence lines, and wild areas far from the original tree. It is now one of the most widespread invasive trees in North America. For anyone who spots a tree of heaven on their property, removal before it reaches seed-bearing age is the only way to contain the damage. Number 1. Kudzu, the vine that ate the South. Kudzu was introduced to the United States at the 1876 Philadelphia Centennial Exposition as a beautiful ornamental vine. By the 1930s, the government was paying farmers to plant it for erosion control. By the 1970s, the USDA had declared it a weed. Today, it covers an estimated 7 to 9 million acres across the southeastern United States and continues expanding northward as winters warm. Kudzu grows up to a foot per day in summer. It smothers trees, utility poles, abandoned buildings, and anything else in its path. Nothing in the American ecosystem evolved to control it. Eradication from an established site requires years of repeated treatment. For anyone in a region where kudzu grows, the only relationship to have with it is vigilance. Because once it establishes on your property, you are managing it for life. These 9 plants represent everything the nursery industry gets wrong. They were sold as solutions. They became problems. And in most cases, the people selling them knew exactly what they were capable of and said nothing. Your great-grandmother did not buy plants impulsively. She asked the old farmers what stayed put, what played well with neighbours, and what had earned its place in a working garden over generations. That knowledge did not come from a label. It came from watching what happened to the people who planted the wrong things. You do not need beautiful plants that destroy your property. You never did. Research before you plant. Ask what a species does in year 10, not year 1. The right plant in the right place requires nothing from you. The wrong plant will take everything. If this video saved you from a $4,000 mistake, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me which plant on this list surprised you most.